Good morning, Boker Tov and Chodesh Tov, and welcome back to Parsha Perspectives for today. Parsha Shir is always sponsored by Becky and Avi Katz, a family member of David Grossman, Le'ilu Nishmas David Ben Menachem Monish, whose yurtzeit, I believe is today, is this week. Tremendous gratitude to the Grossman family, the Katz family. He was a very special person. I knew him. Big, enormous heart, very, very generous soul. And we wish Nechama to his beautiful family, to Becky and Avi, and the whole family, and my dear friend Rabbi Seth. Neshama should have an aliyah. This morning, Shir is also sponsored by Nishmas Elio ben Moshe, Ernest Khan, beloved father of Susan Rajasthan, on his 9th year at site, the 2nd of Adar. Thank you, Susan, for your generosity and your sponsorship. Greatly, greatly appreciated, and appreciate everybody's flexibility moving the Parsha Shir to today instead of yesterday. We were on the road, so appreciate it. Just a reminder, our global campaign is going to be starting soon, so keep an eye out for it next week. If you come and if you enjoy, or if you're watching and you are listening, and you enjoy the content, if your life is enriched in any way by the content that comes from the Boca Raton Synagogue, it's your obligation to do something. $18, $180, $1,800, $18,000, $18 million. We'd welcome it all. But I don't know how you could sleep at night if you benefit, enjoy the content, derive pleasure, and don't contribute to enabling us to be able to do it. So I'm just introducing it. We're not up to it yet. The guilting that's just a low-level guilt. That was just the introduction to the guilt. Wait till you see it come on, full force. But Mirz Hashem, our global campaign, you can give now. brsonline.org/global, and you can help us accomplish all that we do. Page 444 in the ArtScroll Stone Chumash, Parshas Terumah. We now move to the second half of the book of Shmos, the story of the Mishkan and the Kelm, the building of the sanctuary, a place for the Almighty to dwell and to live. And here we have something fascinating. Rashi begins, V'yichuli Terumah, V'daber Hashem Moshe Lemor. God spoke to Moshe saying, Daber ben Yisrael v'yichuli Terumah, me'esa kol asher ish asher yidvenu libo, tikchu es Terumah si. Speak to the children of the Jewish people, let them take for me a portion from every person, asher yidvenu libo, tikchu es Terumah si. We've spoken so many times about this pasuk. You can listen to the previous year's shiurim. Why the word ish? We have countless words for man. Ish, gever, adam, Yilid. We have so many words. Why ish? Why specifically the word ish? And why asher yidvenu libo? Why do they have to have a generous heart? And most notably, why is it v'yichu? Why is it taking? It is an act of giving. Right? What I just did, we always time our global campaign and appeal with Parshas Terumah. I share every year the beautiful insight. Many give. The Tzaddikim quote. Why is Parshas Terumah after Parshas Mishpatim? The end of last week's Parsha, Nasa V'Nishma, we just had Har Sinai. Because it's easy to be on top of the mountain. Hashem is amazing. Revelation, spirituality, connection. Right? You come off in the Ela, the Kumzitz, the Fabrengen, the Tish. You're on fire. It's incredible. Everything's amazing. Munashir, the Parsha Shir, the Chesed, amazing. Someone, so amazing. Could you take out your checkbook? Well, it's not so amazing. You don't understand what I give, what I do. I don't really have. So does being on fire translate to giving and generosity? Do you take mishpatim and put it into Terumah? So v'yichuli Terumah. It should be v'yitnu. It should be giving, not receiving. So we talk about this every year, try to bring new insight into this opening pasuk, these opening psukim. The Helig of Shev Shmaysa. You didn't see that coming. Shev Shmaysa is an incredibly complicated, advanced, difficult Sefer of Lamdas. Said 7 Shmaysa, 7 different mamarim, teachings, very intricate, very detailed. The Shev Shmaysa asks 2 questions on this Rashi. Rashi says, V'yichli Terumah, li lishmi. Why does God say, take from me a gift? What do you mean from me? The Mishkan's for him? God needs anything? It's a big discussion. Does God have needs? Are we anthropomorphizing him? Does he really have needs? V'yichli, li, take from me. Li, says Rashi, lishmi. You have to do it how? Lishma. Lishma. The gifts to the Mishkan had to be given lishma. No ulterior motive, no self-interest, no ego. Lishma. Had to be purely motivated, entirely for Hashem. And Shmaysa wonders, why is the construction of the Mishkan singled out as requiring lishma? Every mitzvah should be done lishma. Ideally, every mitzvah we do, putting on tefillin, lighting the Shabbos candles, sitting in the sukkah here in the shofar. Every mitzvah we do, Tarek mitzvahs every day. One should focus their mind. One should be paying attention. One should be really invested and mindful. So why specifically this one is it an absolute prerequisite? Why is it a necessity? Don't give if you're not going to do it lishma. Every mitzvah should be done lishma. Moreover, we have a principle. Like Chacham tells us elsewhere that when you do something, is it if you're not doing it for the right reason, better to not do it at all, or better to do it? Better to do it. Why? Mitoch shelo lishma, ba lishma. Because if you do it at first for the wrong reason, but at least do it. When you get started doing it, maybe what precipitated to begin with was the wrong reason. You'll come to do it for the right reason. I just returned late last night. Our BRS Mavakshim flying. The whole Chevra went to New York for 2.5 days. We went all over the New York area. Met with incredible Rosh Yeshiva, Rabbanim, community leaders. Amazing trip. I can't wait to share so much of the inspiration, the teachings, the messages. One of the incredibly accomplished Rabbanim we met with, who's written many, many, many Seforim that you're familiar with, shared with us. I won't say his name because I don't know he shared this story for publication. But he told us, I asked him, what inspired you to write this genre of Seforim, the books that he puts out, which have enhanced all of our lives enormously? I said, why did you start that? What did you think was missing? What led you to do that? He said he was a young man learning in yeshiva, and he wanted to stand out. He wanted to make a name. He wanted to do something different. There was a competitiveness in learning. So he wrote the first book, and he went to Rav Moshe. And he asked Rav Moshe, Shaila, can I publish this book? So Rav Moshe looked and said, what's the question? I don't understand the question. You wrote a Sefer. Why wouldn't you want to publish it? What would be the Shaila about publishing it? So he said, because I wrote it for the wrong reasons. Everything's accurate. Everything's true. It's adding something valuable. But I wrote it for my ego. So Rav Moshe said, no problem. Because you know you wrote it for the wrong reason, you can publish it. Mitoch shelo lishma, ba lishma. He's written many, many Seforim, and he's a very special person. And very humbly he said, I'm still waiting for the lishma to come. It's still lo lishma. So he said something very interesting. Rav Moshe was saying to him was, only when you acknowledge it's lo lishma, can you do it lo lishma with the hope it'll come lishma. But if you fool yourself into thinking that it's lishma now when it's lo lishma, maybe better you shouldn't be doing it. You have to have the self-awareness and the fidelity to the truth to admit that right now it's lo lishma, and hopefully it'll become lishma. So we do all kinds of mitzvahs, shelo lishma. Person goes to the daf yomi, person volunteers for the Chevra Kadisha because they want their children to get a shidduch. I wish I were joking, but you don't know how many people tell me, my kid's in shidduchim for the resume, I need to start getting involved in something in the community. Rabbi, where can you plug me in? I say, well, that's a very beautiful thought. It's very powerful. Shalol lishma. But ba lishma. Then Amir Tashem, they fall in love with the daf, or they fall in love with the satisfaction of being on the Chevra and doing taharas. But people all throughout the day are doing things shalol lishma. So why is Vichli Terumah? Li lishmi. The gifts to the Mishkan had to be pure, no ulterior motive. So Shev Shmaysa asked the two questions. Number one, every mitzvah we try to do lishma, but number two, isn't it better to do lo lishma? Because then it's ba lishma. So why is it a prerequisite here? Li has to be lishmi. The Shmaysa answer is based on an Alshach. The Alshach HaKadosh addresses our pasuk. Why is Hashem's call v'yikhu li? Take from me donations. It should be give. So the Alshach explains based on the Gemara in Kedushin Daf Zayin. The Gemara in Kedushin has a fascinating sugya. For a man and a woman to be married, the man has to give the woman the three ways one can get married, but our universal practice today, kesef bi and shtar, we do kesef. We marry, a man is betrothed to a woman through a transaction, through the transfer of something of value. We also today universally don't give money. We do shava kesef, something that is equal of value to money. We give a ring. Based on Tosfos, a ring without a stone, the woman shouldn't be misled. She thinks she's getting $1 million stone. Little does she know it's, what do they call it? Lab grown? Cubic zirconium. Little did know he got it in the cereal box that morning. So it's going to be a kedushay tos. She thinks the guy's giving her $1 million ring. And the ring came in the box of Fruity Pebbles that morning. So therefore Tosfos says we don't give a stone, no stones. No, don't give a stone, don't engrave anything. A plain, simple band. Could be made of any material, but a plain, simple band. That's our practice. Shavak Kesef, a plain, simple band. So Gemara says, the man has to give a woman, Harayat Mekudeshesli, you're betrothed to me, and then he puts the ring on her finger. The Gemara gives variations of this scenario, where the man is giving something, and what about if the woman does not receive something tangible, but she commits herself to be his wife through some intangible benefit that she gets? So Gemara has examples of that. Can he provide for her an intangible benefit where she's actually receiving a benefit, intangible, that they can be betrothed through that transaction? The transfer of something, though, be it intangible. And in that context, the Gemara gives a fascinating scenario. What if he's a very chashiv a person? What if he is well-known, prominent, powerful, and the world wants access, the world wants to give him things, and they can't? And she's going to give him a gift, and through the tovas hana'ah, through the intangible benefit she'll receive by being able to give him something, can she be married to him? Interesting, right? And the Gemara concludes, yes. The fact that she's giving something to someone powerful, prominent, of great esteem, and she is able to post that picture on her Instagram page that she gave a gift to such a person, gives her such a status, that new word, status update, word status used to mean something different, gives her, she'll post on her WhatsApp status, which is social media for really frum people. She'll post on her WhatsApp status that she gave a gift to such a prominent person. She has a tova sana. Everybody's going to write her back privately. Wow, you know him? You gave him? I know him. I gave him something. So he says to her, you know what? Taka, you're pretty, you're charismatic, we share a lot of values. I'll tell you what, let's be married. And what is the gift I'm giving you is the benefit that I received a present from you. And the Gemara says it works. Kedushin Tzchal. Such a marriage works. So the Alshech says, so you see, sometimes you could receive something by giving. She receives Kedushin, she receives marriage by giving someone great of esteem, of prominence, something. Says the Alshech, when we give a gift to Hashem, the most exalted, the most distinguished, the most prominent, the most powerful, the source of the entire universe, when we give a gift to Hashem, we are receiving. We're receiving that relationship. And that's why the Pasuk says, V'yikhu, not v'yitnu. Don't think you're giving. Sometimes when you give, you're getting something so much more. Someone who has access to the Oval Office. There are all kinds of rules and regulations, how big a gift you can give, what you can give. You go lobby, congressman, a senator, you leave a gift. You met someone of great prominence, royalty, a king, a queen, you want to give a gift. So what are you going to think? Who got more out of that? Who got more out of that time together? The person, they're so excited, they got your Eishes Chaya plaque engraved, to the king, to the queen, the Eishes Chayil Award on behalf of the Boca Raton Synagogue. She got so much out of it. The fact that you got an appointment with the queen to give her a gift that's going to sit in some storeroom, you got so much more out of that than what you gave. And that's the message. V'yichu li truma, not v'yitnu. Don't think of it. Now Shmaysa takes this Alshech and he makes a comment. He says, that whole scenario, the Gemara Kedushin only works if it's not a matana amanas lahachzir. If Shiv's giving a gift on condition that it be returned, then there's no tovas hana'ah, and there's no marriage, and there's no relationship. Why? Because the woman does not feel important with the distinguished man's acceptance of such a gift, because he didn't really receive it or accept it permanently. It was only temporarily, because it was on condition. So you see, giving tzedakah is considered a righteous act, even when there's no ulterior motive, but giving to the Mishkan is different. With mixed emotions, you might be giving, but it doesn't rise to the level of receiving, of taking. And therefore Rashi says, V'yikhu li. You're only receiving through this act of giving when it's l'shmi. When you're doing it entirely with pure motive, sincerely for Hashem. That's the answer the Shev Shmaysa gives of how it is working. Why does it say v'yichu, not v'yitnu? And why does it have to be li l'shmi? Why does it have to be li lishmi. The Degel Machane Ephraim has a different approach in such tiny letters. He says the following. Yishlomer bezal derech mashal b'nyan hachasana. Kikol inyan hachasana v'chol chanos v'tzarech hachasana. I don't know why we have marriage on the mind today. He says when it comes to a wedding, what's the purpose of the wedding? There are meetings, there are mortgages, there are a lot of time spent to prepare for the wedding. What's the point of the wedding? You all look confused. Is it that bad? What is the goal and point of a wedding? For this young man and this young woman to be married. It's not a concert. It's not a buffet of delicacies. It's not a competition of decor. It's not a sound and light show. It is all of those other things too. But what is the point or the goal? What is the part that will last and be remembered? What is one trying to achieve at that event? It's for this young man and young woman to be married. There are some people who forget the whole point of the night. So they invest all this time, all this energy, all this effort, all this money. Who's the singer? Who's the band? How big is the orchestra? What's the color? What's the decor? What's the background for the bedekin? Does it match the chuppah? There's an arch before they walk down the aisle. Is there a flower where the place cards are? What are we serving? Is it meat? Is it just the dark meat? Is it also the white meat? What's going to happen at this wedding? Who are the chassan and kala? I don't know their names. I have no idea who they are. I forgot to wish mazel tov. But I got a concert. I got a meal. I got a sound and light show. I got a social event. I got valet parking. I got a cookie and a cup of coffee to take on the road on the way out. Who are the chassan and kala? I don't know their names. I didn't say mazel tov. There are people who are confused why they come. I know this is an out-of-town thing. We like to say a little, very short, something under the chuppah. I know it's an out-of-town thing. And apparently, there's discussion even in Kabbalah, should it be interrupted by other thoughts, idea, fine. But I'll tell you why it's meaningful for me. The Kanai so far are 3 weddings, 4th, I guess, if you include my own. But our children, and Ken Yirbu and all of us, why we do it. I go to weddings today and it feels like you could press like find and replace for the chassan and kala under the chuppah. It's everything else surrounding them. You could go sit through a chuppah. You heard the introductory song. You heard the songs when the people, 3 singers, they were interchanging, the harmony, the choir, the orchestra, the decor. You were confused and overwhelmed by the flowers. You had an allergic reaction to the entire forest that was put up. And you left. You don't know the chassan and kala's name. You didn't really get a look at them. You don't even know why you were there. You don't even know what it was about. Like find and replace. Just put in whatever chassan and kala. Singer, you know his name. The choir, you know their name. The color scheme of the flowers, you know exactly. You sent pictures on every WhatsApp group you belong to of just how outrageous all of it was. Chassan and kala, you don't have a clue. This is all to make me feel better. I just have a lot to get off my chest apparently today. I don't know why. I'm sorry you are the victims of it. But thank you for bearing with me. This is from the Degel Machane Ephraim. He says all of this. He's writing all of this between the words. So at least say 2 minutes. The virtue of this chassan, this kala. Why you bothered coming to this wedding. Why you left a gift, I hope. Why it matters that you came. Concert, you didn't come for the concert. You didn't come for the meal. You didn't come for the decor. You came to watch a union of 2 neshamas, 2 halves becoming a whole. You came to watch this extraordinary transformation under a chuppah of these 2 people becoming fused, of a beginning of a new Bayis Neman, of a holy moment in which souls are coming down from Shemayim to be there. We've totally lost focus on. I'm guilty too. I don't want to pretend. Some of you are probably thinking about, we're all guilty. We've got to bring it back. Do all the other things, by the way. I love the concert. I love Jewish music. I love the orchestra. I love the food. I love the decor. Keep it all. I have no problem with it. Just don't forget to mention who the chassan and kala are. Don't forget to say mazel tov on your way out. Don't forget. Degel Machane Ephraim warns us. We forget. Some come rak le'achav v'lishtos u'mashlichan ekar v'chein kol ha'alma lebehi lulei damya. Gemara in Eruvin Daf Nun Daled tells us the whole world is similar to a wedding. V'yakol ma'asher bara kadosh baruch hu be'olamo hu l'tachlis ha'mechuvan kedei liyachid chassan v'kala v'ishkama anashim sherotzin le'achav v'lishtos v'leilech achar ta'anugim u'mashlichim ha'ikar aval ha'chacham einav barosho This whole world is compared to one long wedding. Some weddings feel like they take up the whole lifetime. Some weddings you need a haircut by the time it's over. But the whole world is similar to a wedding. And some people come to the wedding, this world, and they think the point is to eat and to drink and to be merry, and they forget the chassan and kala. Only it's even worse. Because this whole world and this whole life is compared to a wedding, and guess what? We are the chassan and kala. Who's the chassan and kala? Kadshabrichu ushchinte. Kadosh Baruch Hu and us. This world is our wedding. What do you think? In the yichud room, you just want to fress and eat, and you're not going to connect. It's not going to be a loving embrace. You think the wedding is, you're married now. You're supposed to be vulnerable and connected. You say, but did you see the sushi? But did you taste the charcuterie? Did you have from the carving station? Like, hi, we're married now. This point, that's all nice, but the whole point of this was us. But did you hear the singers? Do you remember what this is all about? This world is all about our connecting. We're here to get married to Hashem, and some people forget to stand under the chuppah. They're stuck at the shmorg. Everyone's sitting and waiting for the chassan and kala to walk down. Where's the chassan? He's at the shmorg. Are you kidding me? We're all here for him. It happens to be when everybody turns to go to the chuppah, that's the best time to hit the shmorg. Trust me. That's the best time. Wait it out. Let everybody go early. Don't elbow and fight. It's the best time is the bedekin, but you should really be at the bedekin. But when they all go in, before they take away the shaving dishes, that's the best time to hit the buffet. If you're a guest. But if you're the chassan, you're the kala, and they're waiting to start the chuppah, where's the kala? She's at the shmorg. She heard the sushi. It was outrageous. That's what we're doing in this world. We're here to get married to Hashem. Hashem's like, hi, I'm under the chuppah. Hi, I'm here. Let's go to the yichud room. Let's go for the wedding night. I'm here to spend my life with you. And we're like, yeah, but just the carving station, just one more piece. Just one more piece. It's so good, we forget. That's what the Degel Ephraim says. V'yikhuli lishmi Terumah lashon hafrasha shemafresh atzum min atafel v'asnifim rak shemachzir be'ikar shuliyachi tamid kuchabrichu shchinte. V'yikhuli, Hashem says, for me, v'yikhud, take from me a terumah. What's a terumah? Terumah is lashon hafrasha. When we separate to give to the Kohen terumah, what are we doing? The act of terumah is an act of separation. V'yikhuli, Hashem says, for me, separate yourself. Do me a favor. Walk away from the shmorg. Walk away from the buffet. Walk away from the sound and light. Walk away from the song. Walk away from the trappings of the here and now in this world. Hashem says, come into the yichud room. Let's lock the door behind us. Come with me. V'yikhuli lishmi. For me, for my sake, for the sake of this marriage, come into the yichud room for me. Break away from a v'yikhuli terumah. Terumah's lashon hafrasha. Be mafresh yourself. Separate yourself a shtickle. Walk away. Pull back. Leave the trappings for a little bit. Spend time with me. As I zok the Degel Ephraim, v'yikhuli. So you think you're giving? When you leave the shmorg to go into the yichud room with the kala, you say, look, what I do for you, this gift I'm giving you, I really want to be with my friends. I wanted the chassan's tish to continue and never end. But I let them end it so I could have the chuppah and come into the yichud room with you. What are you giving her something? The yichuli, you're taking something. You're receiving a relationship. You're receiving love. You're receiving enrichment. So the Rebbeinu Shalom says, v'yichuli, yichu, take, li lishmi, for the sake of our relationship. Terumah, show the capacity to be mafresh yourself a little bit. Meor Shemesh says similarly, li lishmi, terumah hafrasha. Tzorach lios b'midas histapkus, l'stapik b'muah. Kim chas v'shalom yeh oiv kesef azay lo yochel kvar lo la'avod Hashem be'emes. V'zeh Perish Rashi v'yichuli tainu l'davik kudsha brichu shchinte v'zeh li l'shmi terumah hafrasha yafresh li mamonam. Ratzalom shetzorach lifresh atzmo mi mamon shel yirdav achar mamon rak histapkus v'az yidvenu libo l'Hashem. Hashem says, v'yichuli terumah. I need you to do something for me. I need you to do something for me. Lishmi. Do it for my sake, for my name. Sincerely, genuinely, do it for me. If you do it, you'll be among those Asher Yidvenu Libo. I'll know you have a generous spirit, generous heart. I'll know you have a generous soul. I know you really believe. Are you ready to do it? Here's what I need you to do. V'yichuli lishmi, and then you'll be Asher Yidvenu Libo. You know what I need? Terumah. Mistapek b'muah. I want you to be satisfied with your lot. I want you to be happy with what you have. I want you to realize that I am providing what you need. And I want you to give your money to the people around you who need as well. If you do that, I'll know you love me, lishmi, that you're in this relationship for me and with me. But if you're not capable of that, if you can't part with your money, then I don't know if you're really in this relationship. Don't wait, don't leave it. Do it immediately. Do it right now. That is the way we demonstrate and show that love, that passion, that commitment, that connection to Hashem. You know, often I meet with someone, I say, can I meet with you? I say, Rabbi, before we meet, I just want to tell you, I love the shul, I love you, I love everything that's happening. It's enriched my life, it's changed my life, it's incredible what's going on. I don't know who I was or what I am without it. It's just magnificent. I say, thank you so much. All that's so kind, all that's amazing. I'd like you to consider being part of our Pillar Society. Oh, the Pillar Society? Yeah, it's been a tough year, and I don't know, and you don't know how much I give everyone else. And the truth is, I know I told you I love everything, but they always run out of seltzer at Chalashidus. So I don't know if I want to support a place that doesn't have seltzer at Chalashidus. I don't know. But what happened? You just told me, yeah. Or you meet the people. How's it going? How you doing? How am I doing? My business is up 7,000%. The market, I picked exactly. I went long, I went short, killing it. You should know, how many employees. You should know, you don't see me because I'm so busy. I'm crazy busy. My business is flourishing. It's thriving. It's blossoming. It's exploding. You probably read about it. So that's wonderful. It's fantastic. Listen, I wanted to talk to you about, we have hungry people. Tomchei Shabbos is at an all-time high. Jewish Education Scholarship Fund, people can't afford eggs and mayonnaise. Can you help me out? Purim's coming up, Pesach, they can't afford it. We put out this incredible pay what you want market. I need people to help make it happen. I'm so happy to hear about your... Oh, did I say my business is doing great? I meant I want it, I hope it will. You don't understand how many expenses there are associated with how great it's doing now. The competition is fierce. The yichul li terumah, the measure of a person. Are you willing to be mafresh with your mammon? Can you separate and you part with your money? Not to the point that you become poor and impoverished yourself, but it's the measure of a person. Is it talk? Or do you put your money where your mouth is? Do you share? Do you give? Do you show up? Are you part of making a difference? Are you part of making a difference? Perach Chafei Pasuk Yedal. We're going to get past the opening pasuk. Perach Chafei Pasuk Yud Daled. Page 446. Aron. The Aron. V'yasu Aron atzei shitim ha'masai machetzi arkav yama v'chetzi rachbav yama v'chetzi kol maso. Make the Aron these measurements. They are all integers. They're all fractions, rather. They're not integers. They're all a part of a number, not a whole number. What is the symbolism? We think this Parsha has nothing. We don't have a Mishkan. We don't have Kelm. Why are we spending so much time on this? But I love these Parshios. I love the Klei Yakar on these Parshios. We've learned them together. You can listen for the past Shiurim. The Klei Yakar goes through all the symbolism, the measurements. Why are they half, not whole? Why are they different parts, not consistent? Why he medayik, he goes through and plumbs the depths and he sees significance and meaning in the pneumius and how it's relatable. All of us are supposed to make a mishkan in our home. We're supposed to have a shulchan and an aron and mizbeach in our home. So the lessons, the ideas in each of these kelim apply as much, should resonate as much within our home. Tolah shani, perach hafei pasuk yudal. V'asisa badei atzei shitim v'tzipisa osam zahav. Insert the staves and the rings on the side of the ark that you're going to carry it with. So you make them and cover them with gold. All about the sorry, the right pasuk. Where's the Tolah Shani? Going back. Per Chafei pasuk Yud Aleph. Sorry, go back a pasuk. The Aron, we know, is covered with pure gold from within and from without. Cover it, make it from a gold crown all around it. Why don't we just make it gold all throughout? The inside is gold and the outside is gold. Why do we need the wood on the in between? Because Tocho Kaboro, we need wood, the flexibility. Again, we've gone through many of these messages before. Sefer Chasidim, Utzer Plos HaTorah, first one of the day. Sefer Chasidim, Im Yesh L'Adam Hon Bebeso, Darko L'Chabdo L'Haros Es Yofyo L'Kol, V'Lasima Ba'argaz Yafa, Ken Yesh L'Asos L'Cheftzei Shamayim, Ki Chol Chavatim Lo Yeshvu Ba. Person who has an incredible silver collection. You have beautiful menorah, and beautiful bechers, and beautiful mayim achronim, family heirlooms, or very expensive. What do you buy? Break front, a display case. You prominently put on display the wonderful, beautiful objects you have. Similarly, says the Sefer Chasidim, when it comes to your Seforim and Cheftzei Shamayim, you should not be satisfied with that which you bought, you inherited. I'm not saying anything wrong with, IKEA or wherever you bought it from, whatever a person could afford, but we shouldn't overinvest in the decor and underinvest in what we use to prominently display the Cheftzei Shamayim. Kabedes Hashem mehonach, sheyesh l'chabedes Cheftzei Shamayim yosim ma'ashem chabedes hono, k'mo shematzina ba'aron ha'edus, sheyu ba'aron shnei luchos, u'michutz ha'yimetzuba bezav, d'chsev tzipisa oso zahav tahor, v'hu b'shvil ha'chabedes ha'luchos shebesocho. Wouldn't you think the holiest objects on earth, tablets that Moshe got, both the broken ones and the whole ones, they should be displayed in the most simple case. It's the holiest, most spiritual object that transcends material and physical. Why are we displaying it dafka in something which is gold? Ken yesh lasos orona lasim seforim besocho. Whatever your stender, whatever your bookcase, whatever your Shabbos table, when it comes to Cheftzei Shamayim, the holy objects of our life, don't be satisfied with mediocre. Don't underachieve, under-display. Should do even more. So you'll say, well, if you come, I live in a simple home, my clothing are simple, my car is simple, but then my Kiddush cup is over the top. My challah knife is over the top. Shabbos table is over the top. My menorah is over the top. My Seforim shrine is over the top. So isn't that Yura, Gaiva? Isn't it arrogant? So the Gemara Yuma Dafayin says, maybe Sefer Torah Beis v'Koribo, Laharos Chazusa L'Rabim. Rashi says, Laharos Chazusa L'Rabim, Laharos Noyav Shal Sefer Torah, V'Tiferes Ba'aleh Shatarach L'Sanos B'Mitzvah, Zakeli Va'anveyu. So he brings down here, many Makoros, but I don't want to spend the time. Quotes from the Darchei Tshuva of Munkach, Sefer Tiferes, all these, you dedicate a Sefer Torah. Should the handles be a simple, plain, worn-out wood, or the silver? The cover for the Sefer Torah today, leather, with fur, should it be simple? It's a Sefer Torah. It's the holiest object we have. Maybe it should be simple. No. Your talis and tefillin bag. Your leichter. Your Sefer Torah cover. That's where you put the money. Not the decor in the car, not your Ferragamo shoes, not your fancy watch. That's not really for you. You're just holding it for the next generation. That's what makes you feel better about using up the next generation's money to buy yourself that fancy watch. Those are not where you put your money. That's not the decor and the fashion. Those things be satisfied with simple. It's the Cheftzei Shamayim. Where do you see this from? Because v'tzipisa osam zahav. Because Baruch Hu tells us, my luchos, my original Sefer Torah, how do you put it and display it? It's not even on display. Nobody sees it. It's behind the parochas, dafka in a golden box. Why? Because the Baruch Hu says, I want people to see. If they come into your home and you live simply, except for the religious items, the religious objects, they'll see where your priorities are. But if when it comes to your personal objects, you go over the top, designer, exclusive, incredibly expensive, and it comes to your religious objects. I get asked all the time, somebody needs to buy mezuzahs. So I used to give the example, mezuzahs come $20, $40, or $60. Today mezuzahs come $60, $120, $250. Inflation. I don't know, the eggs in mezuzahs, mayonnaise, I don't know why they're so expensive. But mezuzahs have gone up incredibly. So they come to me and they say, Rabbi, how is it really that important? Is there really that much of a difference? Which mezuzahs should I buy? So you know what I always answer? Come, let's go to the parking lot. Parking lot? You can't answer in your office? After Minyan, why do I have to go to the parking lot? So I want to see what kind of car you drive. What kind of car do you drive? I don't want to insult anybody. I drive a Honda Accord. I've had 5 Honda Accords in a row. I love it. It's amazing. For some, it's a luxury car. I don't take it for granted. I love my Honda Accord. Okay, if you drive a Honda Accord, you can have a Honda Accord mezuzah. You got your Beamer, your shiny Mercedes. You got your souped up, fully loaded Tesla. You can't buy the cheapest mezuzah. Can't. I'm the first one who often gets a tour when the person puts up a new house. Why? Not the showing off. The mezuzahs. And they didn't budget for the mezuzahs. You go, you take a tour. This doorway, this doorway, this doorway. The architect 400 archways around. And in the planning process, nobody said, all these archways are going to need a mezuzah. So by the time you're done, you finish the count, 87 mezuzahs. 87 mezuzahs for your house. Your 19-car garage, each garage a mezuzah on the inside door, the door into the house. 87 mezuzahs. Rabbi, which mezuzah? I called the Sefer. Can I just get the $40 mezuzah? So I saw your house. You didn't have the lowest level. The shades cost more than my house. You think you could get the $40 mezuzah? So that's what the Torah is telling us. If a person sees your life and your lifestyle, where do you put your money? Your shoes, your belt? Your belt? Designer belt? The belt's to keep your pants up, not to tell the world how much money you have. It's the purpose of a belt. Where do you put your money? So Zer Zahav, Pasuk says, V'tzipiso so Zahav, and all this Sefer Chasidim, the Munkacher, they're all bringing down. Don't put on display your personal goods. That's not where you put your money. It's in our religious items. Many of these objects, the Mishkan, were made out of tolaim. So he quotes here, the Baal Tosos in the Sefer Tosos HaSholim. Say, you know why tolas? You know why we use a worm? Say, misaknim in ameshem abushim noim ame'ilim, shelo yizgo lov shemi'ilim b'mambusheim, lizkor me'ayin bo mabushim amitolaim, v'achris ha'adam latolaim. One of the ingredients, one of the materials for the Mishkan and for the big day kahuna were tolaim, meshi. The meshi that comes from, it's woven from tolaim. You know why? Don't get arrogant. From all this beautiful gold and from these materials and from this fine clothing of the big day kahuna, don't ever grow arrogant. Stay humble and remember that ultimately we'll all be tolaim, we'll all be worm food. Ultimately we'll all be in the ground and we'll be worm food ourselves. Next page. On top of the Aron, adorning the Aron, are these 2 childlike angelic figurines, these 2 cherubs, the Keruvim, that sit on top of the Aron. So Rashi famously here says, which way are they facing? Tell me something about these Keruvim. Keruvim kinar Yisrael v'oivo. The Baal HaTurim says, what do they look like? What do they look like? They look like Nar Yisrael. So the author of Kelm says, the Baal HaTurim. Why is it the Keruvim look like the place of Asher Sashchina? I'll tell you what I would have put. Shlomo Zalman and Rabbi Yoshev. Rabbi Moshe and the Rav. Lubavitcher Rebbe and Rav Hutner. I would have put, make everyone happy now, Rav Chaim Kanievsky and Rebbetzin Batsheva Kanievsky. I would have put Rebbetzin Machlis and Rebbe Yibod L'chaim Tov and Rebbe Machlis. I would have put these mature, seasoned, accomplished, righteous. What do we put? Little Pitzkala kid and a little girl with her ponytails and her braids and her. That's the image on the Aron. This is the holiest object that's in the holiest part of the holiest place. And what's on top of it? The image of a nar, of a kid, of a kinder. Why? So the author of Kelm says, Sheigisha shel adam la'avodas Hashem yisbarach tzricha lios b'rananos. When Rav Ben Zion Twersky was here several weeks ago, he gave a beautiful Shabbos afternoon class. I don't remember all the psukim he invoked, but Vanar Neniti, Vani Vanar Ne'acha. Anytime you see the word Nar in the Torah, Kadosh Baruch Hu wants us to preserve the sense of Na'arus in us. Often, the image of an older person is someone who's tired, someone who's stuck, someone who's fixed, someone who's done. It's over. And the image of a child is somebody who's hungry, somebody who's driven, is someone who has an appetite, someone who's just beginning, someone who has rigor and vigor and dynamism. The Torah says, no matter what age, no matter what stage of life, you're never done. Be a nar. Be hungry. Be curious. The world is backwards today, thanks to the internet and the information age. Now children who know internet better think that they think they're smarter, they know more. They have less respect for authority. But until recently, children understood and they saw in authority, you lived longer, you know more. So children were curious. They were hungry. Life is an adventure. They were adventurous. That's what the Torah wants from us. Yisrael Salanter explains the pasuk. Kinar Yisrael v'oyevo, pasuk in Hosea. Hashem loves us when we're young and hungry and driven and curious and innocent and pure. All those character traits and components, all those aspects of being a nar is how Hashem wants us to feel. That's why we say in our davening. Alter doesn't say this. What do we say in our davening? Yom Noraim, Al Tashlicheni Le'ez Zikna. We don't say, don't throw me away in my ziknus. I'm an old person, Hashem. Don't limit me. Don't compromise me. Don't give up on me. Don't dismiss me. What do we say? Al tashlicheni le'ez zikna. Don't cast me away as if I've reached the time of like I'm an old person. I'm done. Carol Dweck, worth reading her book, Growth Mindset. She talks about a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. So we associate the older people as having a fixed mindset. They're fixed, they're done, you're not going to change them, it is the way it is. Young people, growth mindset. Growth and open and curious and hungry. And that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants from us. And that's why the Aron houses what? The Torah. The Aron is the place from which the Torah shines forth. So what's the image of the Torah? Young, hungry, dynamic, curious, youthfulness. There are youthful 100-year-olds. There are people in our community, in our shul, who are in their 90s. Soll sein gesund und stark. People in this room in their 90s. Beli ayin hara. There are people 100 and over in our community. And they're youthful. Sol Khan, Olav Shalom, who just passed away this year. Sol Khan was in his 90s. You interacted with Sol Khan, he was a kid. He was a little kid. He would dance, and he would joke, and he would smile, and he was a kid. And I know people in their 20s who are old men and women. Old, depleted of energy and joy and happiness and curiosity and love and adventure. They're just done, and they're finished, and they're fixed, and they're fabisana, and they're done. So it's not an age, it's an attitude. And the attitude associated with the Aron is nar. Be young, be hungry, be curious, be dynamic. You all are, that's why you're here. Parsha Shir. Yechezkel Levinstein says in the name of the Alter of Kelm as well, that's why I call it Talmud Chacham. A Chacham Amiti, a true Talmud, a true Chacham, is someone who's always in the stage of being a Talmud. You're never arrived, you're never done. Right? You think Carol Dweck invented fixed mindset and growth mindset? She got it from us. We don't call it Chacham. Who do we admire? Whom do we revere? Someone who's a Talmud Chacham. You're only a Chacham as long as you remain a Talmud. The day you're done being a Talmud and you think you're now an accomplished Chacham is the day you're a Gornished. The day you're a Gornished. You have to remain a Talmud in order to ever be a Chacham. A Talmud Chacham. And that's the Na'ar imagery on top of the Aron. Otza plus Torah also has something to say about this and everything else. We know Shnayim Keruvim. The Gemara Menachos tells us Shlosha Dvarim Yikashin Lo Moshe. Ad Sheher Lo Kadosh Baruch Hu Be'etzba'o. There were three of these objects, utensils, the Mishkan, that were difficult for Moshe to imagine, to picture, until HaKadosh Baruch Hu pointed with his finger and showed him, here's the design. Here's what it looks like. Menorah, Rosh Chodesh, and Shratzim. Interesting. The menorah, you can picture it. Rosh Chodesh and Shratzim. And in the end, Hishlach Moshe es Kikar Shazav La'or, V'menorah Nasta Me'eleh. He threw it into the fire, and the menorah was fashioned on its own. Muvur Meforshim Shemoshe Neskash Shmaysa Menorah V'shay Nasas Kechaticha Achas U'Lamlacha Zo Yitzarach Ezer Melokei Elyon. The Yakar talks about this. Why was it so hard for Moshe to dream, to picture how to get the block of gold into the menorah? And the answer is because what was the menorah? How many parts were the menorah made of? One. So to make it from one part, that's a kunz. To melt down gold break it into parts, screw them together. I'm going to make it sound like it's easy. I don't begin to know how to do it, but apparently it's easier. But to arrive at the result of the menorah from one block, that's difficult. So Moshe needed an assist from the Ribbono Shalom himself. V'yesh la'ayin, frek da'ot plus HaTorah, lama lo nizkar Moshe Rabbeinu gam b'maisa Keruvim, shegam HaKeruvim hayu tzrichim li'asos miksha achas im kaporas. You know what else was made from one solid gold block, not assembled from separate parts? The Keruvim on top of the Aron. So how come Moshe didn't need an assist? Why didn't he need help? Why didn't he have to throw the block into the fire and it would come out the Keruvim? Why was he able to imagine how to do it on his own? We don't find it was done derech nes. We don't find he needed help. So listen to the Otzar Plus HaTorah. This is his original thought. Yesh lilmod mikan musar Yechezkel be'inyan chinach habanim. Dinei haKeruvim hayu b'midas tinokos. Gemara in Sukkah, we saw from Rashi, Na'ar. The Keruvim are the image of children. Miramezes lanu HaTorah yisod gadol b'chinach hatinokos. She'ein habanim gedolim b'Torah v'yashamayim me'eleihem rak la'acher omol rav. B'tziruf im harbe tfilos. V'rak az zochen liros doros yisharim v'rachem k'divrei Baal Haggadah amaleinu elu habanim. The menorah, Moshe took one block of gold, threw it in the fire, pum, psh, beautiful menorah. The Keruvim, they also had to be made from one solid block. But Hashem didn't assist. Moshe had to do it on his own. It wasn't as simple as throwing it in the fire and having a result. Why? Because the Keruvim are children. When it comes to our children, we don't enlist them in yeshiva. Fast forward 12 years, punkt, we're done. We don't throw them into the fire of life, and now we're done. There is no handing it off to Hashem and asking Him to be in charge and in control and hand us back beautiful Keruvim. We have to work on it. We have to toil in it. Amalenu. In the Haggadah, when we darshan the Psukim, we say, Amalenu, our toil, our effort, Elu, Habanim. Children, they take effort, toil. Yaakov Kamenetsky once saw a Talmud. He said, tell me, how are you? How's your family? What's happening? So Talmud said, Rabbi, Baruch Hashem, I'm well, my family's healthy, but I such tsar gidol banim. He said, what's the matter, tsar gidol banim? My children, it's hard to get them to come to minyan to remember to say brachos. Sometimes they have chutzpah. They won't go to sleep. They don't want to brush their teeth. So Rav Yaakov looked at him and he said, that's not tsar gidol banim. That's gidol banim. That's gidol banim. That's not the pain of raising children. That's called raising children. Tsar gidol banim, Rahman al-Itzlan, is when a child, Chalila, there's a challenge which is out of the ordinary, which is not part of just being a child. All children need raising. Amalenu zu abanim. That's why at the Haggadah, look around. Mitzvah Hashem, you should be zocheh, sit at the Seder. It's hard to believe, 2020. Still that image of people sitting all alone for the Pesach Seder. This year, for the rest of our lives, Amalenu zu abanim, look around at a Seder. If one has this chus to sit with children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, whoever thought you'd use those words. There are people, maybe in this room, who will spend the Seder with their great-grandchildren. Whoever heard of in history people who could sit at a Seder and learn with their great-grandchildren. Bli ayin har, a few weeks ago at Avos Zabanim, my father, who was Zocham Baruch Hashem, he's so kind, comes to Avos Zabanim, was there with me, my son, and my grandson. So 4 generations we were learning Avos Zabanim together. When we were walking out and walking home, I said to my father, how many times in all the Jewish history did anyone say, what a great chavrusa, 4 generations together? In all of Jewish history, how many had the Bli ayin hara, Bli ayin hara, Bli ayin hara? How many times? So when we look around the Seder table, say, Habanim, Baruch Hashem, we have children, grant, took a lot of work. Amalenu zu Habanim. It's an amelis. You don't just throw it in the fire, and then you get to have the pictures, and the singers, and the food, and the chuppah. You walk onto that chuppah, Amalenu zu Habanim. Amelis. Whether it's Gidol Banim or Tsar Gidol Banim, a lot goes into it. Such a beautiful insight of the Otzar Plus HaTorah. So when it came to the menorah, Moshe was confounded, confused. He didn't know how to make it happen. Throw the one block in, Hashem will make it come out on its own. The Keruvim, difficult to picture exactly how. Has to be one block of wood. Not sure how to do it. Hashem says, figure it out. Because when it comes to your children, you can't hand it off. You can't outsource. You can't outsource to a third party. Hashem's not going to come in and bail you out. Amalenu zu abonim. Takes work, takes effort. It's not easy. Perachafei pasachaf. Move right along. Vaya Keruvim porsik nafayim l'mala. Sochem chanvayim al kaporos b'nei mishal achiv. El kaporos yipnei Keruvim. The pasuk tells us what they look like. Place the cover on the ark above. Where's the pasuk? The Keruvim have wings spread upward, sheltering the cover with their wings, facing towards one another. Towards the cover, the Keruvim face. So what direction are the Keruvim in? What direction are they in? They're facing one another. They're facing one another. The Gemara in Yuma tells us, Daf and Daled, B'shasha Yisrael l'regel megal lanas haparochas. When the Jewish people would go to Yerushalayim for the 3 festive holidays, they would pull back the curtain, and they would reveal the Aron with the Keruvim on top. And what would they see? The Keruvim are Meorim zeh b'zeh. They are hugging one another. They used to have the image, the Keruvim, one was a male, one was a female. Equity in the Mishkan. Equality in the Mishkan. One was male, one was female. They knew their gender. They were on top of the Aron. And they were in an embrace. When were they in an embrace? When Yisrael were Osen Ritzono Shel Makom. The Jewish people were fulfilling the will of Hashem. The image of the Keruvim on top of the Aron, like a man and a woman, like a husband and a wife. I don't know why it was allowed. It was chiba in public. Okay, it's not a problem. I think it's healthy sometimes to see what love looks like appropriately and modestly. Children should grow up and know that parents don't have the chiyuv of shmiras negiah with one another. Okay, whatever, a separate subject. But this was the image. Everyone came from all over the world. They came to Yerushalayim. They were in the Beis HaMikdash. We pulled back the paroches. We revealed the holiest place in the world, the Kodesh HaKadoshim. And what did everyone see? A man and a woman hugging. The Keruvim were in a loving embrace. Love, love. When our enemies came into the Beis HaMikdash to destroy it, and so it says, one pasuk says, Pneim Yishal Achiv. The pasuk in Divrei Hayamim says, Hem omdim al ragleim u'pneim lebayis. They're not facing each other, they're facing away. Which is it? That's what the Gemara concludes in Baba Basra and in Yuma, that one was doing over Ritzono Shel Makom, facing each other. Not doing over Ritzono Shel Makom, facing away. When they came in to destroy the Beis HaMikdash, which way were we facing? Each other. How could it be? How could it be? It was meant to, how could it be? So the Beis Yisrael, the 5th Ger Rebbe, his Yortzeit is now, around now, he says, not doing Hashem's will is when people only care about themselves. No midos, no derech eretz, no sympathy, no empathy. The Keruvim mirrored the people. When we're ish el achiv, when we turn towards one another, the Keruvim towards one another. So Beis Yisrael says, even when they face away, still spreading their wings upward. You could have very religious people, they look very religious, very righteous, very virtuous. They're spreading their wings upward, but they're facing away from the other people. There's no empathy, there's no love, there's no kindness. And those people are called Eina Osim Ritzono Shel Makom. The starkest Hachsherim, the longest Shemona Esrei, the frummest everything. Your wings could be upward. In every religious measure, you're the starkest and the frummest, but you're not Ish El Achiv. You make people feel invisible. You don't acknowledge, you don't welcome, you don't shower love, you're not connecting, there's no empathy. Such a person whose wings are up, but who's not Ish El Achiv is called Eina Osim Ritzono Shel Makom. Such a person is called. So you see the measure of who we are and how we're behaving. The Krish Baruch Hu cares is not only are our wings up, but are we directed one towards another. Chafei Chav Beis. V'no'adati l'chasham. V'dibarti l'chami ala kaporas m'bin shnei akrum asher alon edus. Eis kol asher atzaveh escha el b'nei Yisrael. Kadosh Baruch Hu is v'no'adati. V'no'adati l'cham sham. Skip. No, I didn't skip. V'no'adati v'dibarti. Rabbi Soloveitchik on that word v'no'adati. What does that mean? I will arrange my meetings with you, and I will speak to you from atop of the Aron. Writes Rabbi Soloveitchik. The command to build the sanctuary is very difficult to understand. It's linked to a great and sublime secret, as Shlomo expressed in his tefillah after he completed building the first Beis HaMikdash. If the entire universe isn't sufficient to contain him, how could he dwell in such a small and limited space? When Shlomo posed the question, Hashem apparently provided no response at all. Instead, he continued with a request. Instead of searching for an answer to how infinity can dwell in a place of finitude, Shlomo requests that Hashem accept our prayers. Why does Hashem want a house? The answer is, so He can dwell among us. This is the true intent of the mitzvah. Where they live is where I want to live, in a home next to them. At any time you may knock on my door and talk with me. Tell me your worries, your dreams, your desires without hesitation, without shame. Because that is the very reason that I contracted my glory. And it is appropriate for me to dwell between the Keruvim and the Arum, covering one square Amma, the infinite being limited to the finite Aron Habris. For it is my will that my house should be called a house of prayer. What's it called? Throughout their exile, they should direct their hearts at times of prayer to this house, as if we're there and Hashem is right next to us. There are mitzvahs that obligate us to bring various sacrifices, various times of the year, writes the Rav. There are also mitzvahs that require us to offer tefillos. There is, however, a great difference between these obligations. A korban is accepted even if there's a great distance between Hashem and the owner, even if it's offered by a shliach, by an agent. Not the case with prayer. If there is no closeness, there is no prayer. Even though prayer was established in place of sacrifices, it's impossible for an agent to act on behalf of the sender. Tefillah requires a feeling of closeness, as if one is standing opposite him, in his embrace. Such intent is a central idea and a fundamental principle of prayer. Vinoadati, it's a meeting place, a place of intimacy, a place of connection. Can you imagine? You send somebody to your wife, you send someone to your husband. I have a message. What's the message? Your wife wanted me to tell you she loves you. Loves you. You can't tell me you love you through someone else. Vinoadati, intimacy, connection, vulnerability. That's what the purpose of the Mishkan, the Beis HaMikdash. And even when we don't have it, wherever we are in the world, we face it. Because we're facing that invitation to knock on His door and talk to Him, confide in Him, unburden ourselves in Him, make ourselves vulnerable to Him with no shame and without judgment. V'no'adati l'cha, sham, v'dibarti itcha mi'ala kaporas. That's the purpose, that's the goal, that's the reason that we have it. That's the reason, that's what it's all about. It's a beautiful Megid Yosef, but I want to get to, we only have 1 or 2 moments left. Tabaza, Perchafei Pasuk Chavav. On the Shulchan, there are Yasis la'arba tabazav and asata tabos la'arba peos, asher la'arba raglav. Make for it 4 rings of gold. Place the rings in the 4 corners of the 4 legs. There were 4 rings at the sides of the Shulchan, the Aron 2. Poles went through those rings, and they were used to transport them to the next location. The Yakar writes, make 4 rings. Kadesh Yizkor ki atzalachas ha'olam hazeh him galgal ha'chozer ba'olam kitaba'az zeh ha'igul. V'yidei zechir zeh yefarnes mishulchanu la'aniyim. The table had 4 rings on the side. Why did it have 4 rings on the side? The Yakar says, what shape is a ring? It's a round circle. Why? Because the circle is a ring. The economy, the financial system, life revolves like a ring. And only when we remember that. You could be on top today, be on the bottom tomorrow. Be on the bottom today, you could be on top tomorrow. And we could share endless stories of people who broke through with great wealth and ended up on Tomchei Shabbos. And people who were on Tomchei Shabbos who suddenly broke through with tremendous wealth. So the Shulchan, which is a remnant for the Shulchan, the table of our home, had these round rings. Because when we have parnasa, when we eat our meal, when we indulge in our delicacies, we should remember never to give up and be hopeless because we have too little, and never to be too proud or arrogant because we have so much, because life works like a circle, and it revolves. Why? And the Nodeh B'Yehuda says, this is why, almost universally, what shape are bills? Rectangles. What shape are coins? They're round. Why are coins round? It could be a pentagon, an octagon, a square, a rectangle, triangle. Why are coins round? Listen to what the Nodeh B'Yehuda writes, that the Otzar Plus HaTorah dug up in his Avas Tziyun. Kol ha'mapeos chadash v'gam yishan v'shem over l'socher kulam hem agulim. Ve'efshar hukva mitchila mikad medana la'asos ha'madbeos agulim lo atmuna acheres l'ramez davar agul mis'agel u'mizgalgel ve'in lo tkuma b'makom echad. Because that which is round, a wheel, it rolls. A circle rolls. The coin is going to roll and roll and roll. It doesn't sit in one place. Money moves. It's fungible. It migrates. It doesn't sit. One person, one institution, one country doesn't sit on top of it. The economy has cycles to it. Right? Talk about it. Is it going to be a recession? No recession? They're going to raise rates, lower rates. What cycle? What cycle are we in? Where are we in the cycle? So Rabbi Yehuda, with tremendous insight, says that's why coins are round, because they're going to roll. You have them today, they're going to roll to the next person. You don't have them today, they're going to roll to you. So he says that's why coins are round. So as we transact, as we transfer, as we do business, no one has coins or change anymore, but the image still is powerful. As we transact, as we do business, as we acquire, as we sell, we should remember these coins are not permanent. They're not with us permanently, and we will never permanently be without them, but they move and they migrate and they change locations over and over again. As always, a lot we left off, but we will continue. Amir Hashem. Next time, tonight we go behind the bima with Bernie Marcus, the founder of Home Depot, a great Jewish philanthropist. Fascinating story how he founded Home Depot and what Jews do for Sukkot every year in Home Depot. It's tonight at 9 o'clock. Until next time, stay happy, stay healthy, and stay holy.